justice reign in peace, all bow to honor, and this we count as gain. To hand unto our children our banner without stain. Oh God of all creation, grant these our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty Nigeria may be blessed.
Thank you very much for honoring our great country, Nigeria. A round of applause for Nigeria, the most populous black nation, and of course a country that has been blessed from all ramifications. Once again, thank you very much. To set the stage for the event, I'll call on the chairman, local organizing committee, Mr. Wale. Okay, before that, let's recognize more of our dignitaries here. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Samaila Mohammed Dogarawa, who is the PDP FCT State Chairman. Thank you very much for being a part of this important conversation. I also want to recognize the presence of the Honorable Rabo Lucky Ija, who is also the PDP FCT State Secretary. Stand up for recognition. Thank you very much for being a part of this conversation. We have Honorable Godibag Egbe, who is also the PDP AMAC Chairman. Okay, thank you very much for coming. We have Honorable Mustafa Shehu Ismail, who is the PDP Chairman Buhari. Okay, thank you very much. We have Honorable Abdullahi Mohammed, also a PDP Chairman of Kuje Area Council. And Honorable Usman Suleiman is the Chairman of PDP Wali. Okay, thank you very much. Just like it has been established earlier, we have quite a number of dignitaries here who are attending this very important function, from former governors, of course, to high-profile personalities and former ministers. We've established the fact that former River State Governor Rotimi Amechi is here with us. We appreciate his presence. We also have in our midst the former Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mrs. Ezekwesili. Thank you very much also for being a part of this gathering. We have in our midst other high-profile personalities, including the presidential aspirant of the People's Democratic Party, Dr. Benga Lawopo Hashim. Thank you. Put our hands together for this gentleman. We have in our midst the representative of the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, talking about Dr. Yunusa Tanko. He happens to be also the national coordinator of the Obedience Movement. A round of applause for him. We have Dr. Peter Ame, who is also the chairman of the conference of coalition of political parties in Nigeria. We appreciate your presence. Quite a number of dignitaries, some, will continue to recognize as we progress. I'm sure we're all aware of why we are here, to do a very important, talk on national electoral reforms under this summit, 2025 summit. And the theme of the event is critical constitutional amendments for credible elections in 2027. You will agree with me that this is, a right choice, looking at the current state of our democratic journey. we need to consolidate and, of course, look at the gaps, propose solutions so that we get it better in 2027. And it is being organized, as we are aware, of by the National Consultative Front, that is the NC Front, and the Labor and Civil Society Front, that is the LCSF. It is powered by Movement for Credible Elections, MCE. Let's put our hands together for the organizers. It is not, yes, it is not, fit to organize such a gathering and, of course, bring together, critical voices that would add value to this conversation. Once again, a round of applause for the organizers. Right. So without much ado, just like I said, I'll rather invite the chairman of the local organizing committee, talking about Mr. Wale Okino, who would set the stage, set the ball rolling as we commence this important gathering. Mr. Wale, you can come forward for the welcome address, so to speak.
Thank you very much, MC. I am not the chairman. Professor Pat, who told me is the chairman. I am the secretary, but Professor Patrick Okedinachi, who told me is in the US as we speak, and following proceedings on Zoom. And so I'm going to stand in because he's recuperating from a major medical treatment. Let me put it as such. And so we all need you to pray for our chairman at this time. We all know what he has gone through. So I'm going to be standing in to speak on his behalf to welcome our very distinguished guests, panelists, resource persons, speakers, and stakeholders. To welcome you to say again that this is a very critical point in the history of our country. Our country is going through a crisis of legitimacy owing to disputation over elections. And therefore, we need to take ownership of that drive to building legitimacy for our country. And therefore, we have sought to bring stakeholders from far and wide together to come and do justice to the way forward. And we don't want to leave it to the National Assembly alone because they are just agents. They are not, although in Nigeria things have been turned upside down, you find people in government who are your agents now ruling over you, lording over you. Yes, they can rule, they can govern, but they are not expected to lord over the people. The people are the sovereigns, and therefore, every power, every rule must come from the people. They must consult. Government, where it is really democratic, must be consultative. Even Babangida in military garb was quite consultative, although in a Maradonic form. But I mean, there was a semblance or pretension that the people are being consulted. These days, you just hear that something has been done by government. Now it's between the executive and the legislature. The people don't even have. I remember in those days, speaking for the chairman, that we were asked to even debate the taking of the SAP loan. There were debates. You have coordinated. You also have political debate coordinating committee. Of those days, it was because you had eggheads, thinkers in that government. It was not maybe by Babangida himself alone. You have Mansa, you have Difri, you have all sorts of consultative forum for the people to make contributions into governance. Today, under democratic rule, those are non-existent. You even invite government to programs like this, they won't come. It shows that even in what you call legislative engagement, it's not going on. It's just share the money, share the money, share the money. We cannot run prependal government, prependal politics. Political scientists have come to identify the Nigerian system as prependal. It's just about money. Just like Arosla will say, politics are about who gets what, how, and when. Just divining, just expressing Arosla's way. So we must do it correctly. We must save ourselves from heightening insecurity. The old security that Trump was talking about stem from the fact that the people are not taking ownership, and so they don't even love their country anymore. They don't even believe in the country. The people of Nigeria do not believe. Everybody to himself, you do your own borehole by yourself. Where is government in all of this? So government is captured, governance is captured, state captured. It's in the pocket of those who are in government. So we can't continue that way. We are all going to be doomed. If we continue, we allow ourselves to run that route, we are going nowhere. Everybody that thinks they wear Agbada today and whatever, they are going the same route. It's coming one by one. It started in Borno, Maiduguri, it's getting to Ondo, it's getting to Kogi, it's getting to Lagos. So what are you talking about? Well, we pity those in government, because they have to raise humongous amount of resources to contest election. And so they have to recoup their resources. They have to recoup. So they care less whoever dies. They have to, because how do they recoup to be able to come again? So that is the business of government. And Nigerian people
Wale Okinori. Of course, on behalf of the chairman of the local organizing committee, talking about Professor Pat Utomi. I'm sure that speech must have set the tone for this conversation. The critical need for us to talk about our electoral process and, of course, find solution to some of the challenges militating against our ability to throw up credible leaders in this country. Just like he said, there are also other talking points that we're going to engage. The recent threat, so to speak, coming from the United States, especially from President Donald Trump, talking about the need to fix our security issues. I would also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge, the presence in our midst of the 2023 presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, the SDP, Prince Adewale Adebayo. A round of applause for him.
Yeah. Again, let me specially recognize the SDP presidential candidate, Prince Adewale Adebayo Esquire. Yeah, a round of applause for him, please. A round of applause. And the Kano State government is here. The Kano State governor, the governor of Kano State, is being represented by special advisor, national, international, and public relations. He is no other person than Honorable Mohammed Jamu Yusuf OON. You are welcome. A round of applause for Kano State Governor. The Kano State Governor is being represented here by Honorable Mohammed Jamu Yusuf OON. Thank you very much. Yeah, we are going to go straight into the goodwill messages. Goodwill messages, and then the first, I think NLC is ready, the Nigerian Labour Congress. Is the Nigerian Labour Congress ready to give us their goodwill? So who is speaking on behalf of the NLC? Goodwill. Is IPAC here? IPAC. Okay. NLC. So let us know who is doing the goodwill on behalf of the NLC. And then no. Okay, NLC will demand to do the goodwill on behalf of the president is on its way. It's still coming. But I think that if the Kano State government is ready, we can immediately take their goodwill. But, pardon? The next? Okay, we can begin. Because we are in the, on item, you want to come now? Okay, recognize him, just
Okay. Yes, as we await the goodwill from the Kano State government to be delivered by Honorable Mohammed Jamu Yusuf, we also want to take advantage of this to recognize Dr. Barry Avotu Johnson, who is the National Deputy Youth Leader of the Labour Party. Okay, right now we'll be listening to Kano State government goodwill message.
Thank you so much. Good morning, distinguished participants of the National Electoral Reform Summit 2025. It is indeed an honor and a rare privilege to be amongst individuals who will make a presentation as a politician and as someone who wears two caps. The most important cap I wear today is the cap of His Excellency Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, the Governor of Kano State. And I will go ahead to deliver a message from him. So along the line, if I say I'm not referring to I myself. That is I, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf. Distinguished organizers of this summit, the presidential candidate of the SDP 2023, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. It is with profound humility and a deep sense of national duty that I stand before this August Assembly, the National Electoral Reform Summit, as the Governor of Kano State, the most populous and one of the most vibrant political heartlands of our beloved nation. I am honored to contribute to this critical conversation. Let me begin by commending the organizers of this summit for their foresight. In a nation of over 220 million souls, where democracy is both our greatest achievement and our most persistent challenge, electoral reforms are not a luxury. They are an imperative. Since the return to civilian rule in 1999, we have made strides. The introduction of the card readers, the expansion of the PVC distribution, and the gradual embrace of technology. Yet, as the 2023 general elections laid bare, our systems remain fragile. Voter apathy, logistical failures, judicial overreach in electoral disputes, and the undue influence of money and godfathers continue to erode public trust. In Kano alone, where over 4 million registered voters turned out in defiance of the weather, we witnessed both the resilience of our people and the cracks in our machinery. Distinguished participants, if democracy is the soul of our nation, then credible elections are its beating heart. And today, that heart falters. We must revive it. Fellow distinguished participants, allow me to share some perspectives from Kano, where politics is as much a matter of faith and community as it is of ballots. In the last cycle, our state saw unprecedented youth participation, with young people marching, not with placards or protests, but with the quiet determination of those who believe in the ballot as their birthright. Yet we also saw delays in results transmission that sows the seeds of discord. Allegation of collation irregularities that fuel court battles lasting months. So, as we sit here to discuss, I urge us all to bear our minds, talk from our hearts, and walk from our souls, so that we can be able to turn the tide around and move the nation to the promised lands. I will stop here by congratulating each and every one of you for finding it worthy to be here, because staying away leaves the window for more manipulations in future elections. I want to use this occasion to thank all of you for listening and to wish us well as we deliberate on what should be determined as the future of our country. Thank you so much for listening. And in my order of protocol, I forget I didn't notice Madam Obi Ezekwesili, a very distinguished personality. I recognize you seated there. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
I think he deserves more louder applause. That was a speech of the Kano State Governor, His Excellency Abakabir Yusuf, as delivered heavily by Mohammed Jamo Yusuf, who happens to be representing him here at this very important occasion. He highlighted, some of the challenges, the prospects of in our electoral system, and of course, what is expected of this gathering, of creme de la creme, in Nigeria's electoral journey, I can say. You can see on the high table people who have helped, shape our democratic experience in this country. And of course, we'll continue to take these goodwill messages. Just like I said earlier, we have two critical talking points that will be engaging this afternoon. One of them is, of course, critical and mandatory constitutional amendments for credible elections in Nigeria. And this, we expect Dr. Obi Ezekwesili to deliver a key lecture on this. And of course, we have implications and panacea of Donald Trump's warning on growing insecurity in Nigeria. This is another critical talking point. You agree with me, especially looking at our current realities. We're expecting Professor Ike Okechukwu to do justice to this topic. Yes, and also reminded to let the speakers know that we have 10 minutes allotted for these speeches. We know if we give them the whole hour, they will be able to do justice to it. But we crave their indulgence to summarize so that we can be able to leave this place in good time. Thank you very much once again for being a part of history and for being a part of this National Electoral Reform Summit 2025. Okay. So I think we'll go straight to the first keynote, which is to be delivered by Professor Ike Okechukwu. If you're here, kindly come forward to the podium and deliver this lecture. A round of applause for our speaker as he approached the podium.
Professor Ike Okechukwu.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've been introduced as Ike Okechukwu. No problem. The only thing they've not called me is Angela or Monica. Any combination of names, once Ike or Chukwu is there, they say it belongs to him. My name is Ike Chukwu, MNI. Talking about implication of Trump's statement, I'll take us back to '93, after the June 12 elections. At that time, I was on the editorial board of the Guardian newspapers and also teaching in Unilag. We were all very excited, believing that the US will intervene to restore Abiola's mandate. It was conversations along that line that eventually led to the, I think, Ekbetedo Declaration. The belief in our profound ignorance at the time was that once he does that, America will come in and restore our democracy. And some of us were in touch with the USIS. So he made the declaration. And you recall at that time, he kept saying, Washington will not allow this, Washington will not allow that. When Abiola was arrested, what happened? Nothing. Most of those we were speaking with were then saying, it will mean encroaching upon the integrity of a sovereign state, that assuming, for instance, Bashorun is in charge of some area and the people are being threatened, that's where we can come in. That's when I learned the first lesson about respect for national interest by nations, not the interests of other nations. If you're going to come into Nigeria, you're going to affect the business relations Nigeria has with a lot of countries. What was the first country that reacted to Trump's statement? It was China. And I don't need to tell you the extent of interest the Chinese state now has in this country. Across all sectors. Lithium, China is getting more than anybody is getting in Nigeria. So the whole point of this preamble is, let us stop deceiving ourselves. Because Donald Trump, if he is coming to bomb insurgents, please, will you show your ID card in order to be bombed when they arrive? How would he know? But to the substantive and serious matter pertaining to his comments, let's start with reality. Number one, there is insurgency in the country. Number two, there are places where communities have actually been wiped out and their land taken over. True or false? In addition to all of this, you have the growing impression, and when I say growing, this growth is for a period of about 12 years now, that an insurgent or a bandit or a header can get away with whatever he does. Am I correct? Military assault rifles, AK-47. None of us here can buy a Mossberg. That's a pump action. But you see somebody who is about 17 or 18 is carrying one. He's loaded with extra magazine. So, whereas there may actually be no concerted state endorsement, the impression is that there is. And that's a problem. Some 2 years ago, a plane carrying about 20 soldiers was shot down in Niger State. I don't know if we remember that. The governor came to address the state. Please, don't think of hitting back at them. Go and negotiate with them. Those are people's brothers, sisters, fathers, uncles, siblings. That somebody is wearing uniform does not remove the fact that he's, first of all, a human being and a Nigerian. And you think about it, the military represents the highest level of the global human capital. Let me tell you, because you don't know. I have a black belt in Shotokan Karate and a brown belt in Wing Chun Kung Fu. So if you made up your mind to join your ancestors before your time, come. But I'll try to keep to the time because we are dealing with the issues in Jamena. We had to use a helicopter. The pilots were Russians. We were flying almost at route level. Nobody fired catapult at us. There is a serious economy around the crisis. There is a serious international element around the crisis. Now, with the reaction of Trump, which is a forceful global endorsement of some of the things that are happening here we are not paying attention to. Oh, sorry. Also there was a facility with which you could see everything going on here via satellite. If I come out and show my watch, it will zoom and pick the watch. They saw movements. Sadly, we also heard, I don't know whether it's true while I was there, that they also saw movement of the Chibok girls. You ask yourself, will Nigeria benefit more from the presence of America here or from the engagements that will give them logistical advantage in terms of seeing what's going on in the environment in order to focus on targeted engagement? 200 people will ride motorcycles into a place, finish, carry people and go. I try to understand it, I can't. Because to follow a motorcycle, I must hold the person riding it. Am I correct? And yet I'm being kidnapped. I don't understand it. People could come into a place and carry over 300 students from Chibok. Arrival is one thing. Time you to get the students onto the vehicles is another, and then they could actually go away. People will come into a community and kill substantial percentage of that community and then occupy the place. These are facts. But these facts are different from saying that that is what is happening everywhere. Am I correct? Am I correct? Therefore, America has put the matter on the global map. Outrage is real. How can Nigeria as a nation benefit maximally from Trump's public statement? I suggest 2 or 3 things that can happen. I already mentioned some logistical support. Everything you're doing is available online. Satellites are beamed everywhere. If we have preemptive data and information, that's one way to go. Also, these matters would not have escalated to this point if America had not, under Barack Obama, imposed all kinds of strictures on Nigeria. We couldn't buy arms. They said we were not respecting the human rights of the bandits. But you must ask, you must confirm that somebody is human before you talk about his rights. Am I right? If I can come and wipe out an entire village, including children and women, cutting open the belly of pregnant women, you should have difficulty understanding what kind of human rights you should give to me. That's different from encouraging mass murder and inappropriate way of handling such matters. So I'll bring it to a close by saying a few things for us to walk away with. Donald Trump, as a leader in the international space, has a right and a duty to take a position on what is brought to his attention. Donald Trump has a duty to also respect the sovereignty of states. Having brought it into the public domain, the question for all of us and for him is, how can we benefit maximally from this global awareness that has arisen? How can we further assist our military? How can we drive local whole of society approach to intelligence gathering? If you sent me as a battalion commander to your village, I'm not from your village, I don't know anybody there, my troops don't know anybody there. But you, the villagers or the community people, will know any stranger. Any man who had just joined you within the last 1 month, you will know. So if you don't give me intelligence, I won't help you. Now we have communities that are not only not giving intelligence, but actually subverting it. And why? Because you come to the level of civilian leadership and you discover that fundamentally that's where the problem is. I'm a local government chairman. I get about between 100 and 250 million every month. Nothing happens. I'm not living in the state. I'm living in Kaduna or in Abuja. So what is it that will create a local economy? They say, oh, okay, you know, we now have refugee camps. We have palliatives for refugees. We must make a distinction between capital consumption and investment in development. You have the commissions. Northeast Development Commission is doing a lot. When you buy mosquito net and bags of rice, it's money that is being spent. Consumption, it will lead to nothing. And it can go on for the next 200 years. Who is reclaiming the environment where those people left? Because as you live is in the north, re-desertification will begin to occur. And to reclaim it, it will not take you less than 18 to 36 months. It's not happening. We need more money. People are suffering. And you're receiving surrendering Boko Harams, the way our dear brother Zulum is receiving. The money for development of the state is being used not to even develop people, but to just feed them. Or to be quite honest, to take substantial part of the money, put it in your pocket and take their name in vain. Many are investing to ensure that the refugees remain there. So the implications are simple. Number one, our matter will not have gone to the public global space if there was no matter. Number two, you cannot blame Donald Trump, who sees himself and his country as a champion of democracy, never mind that he's ruling by executive orders, which is not democratic. Number four, and more critically, we have to make the specific demands based on knowledge, saying if America is interested and serious about helping the Federal Republic of Nigeria to deal with insurgency, these are the kind of things we need. Drone-facilitated engagements, and America will say, no, we'll do this. Or in doing this, we'll come to help to this limited degree. So in the absence of specific demands, in the absence of a full appreciation, because in all of this, when you come to say Donald Trump is totally wrong, even you saying it, you know you're lying. But we don't say that we'll outsource our identity, our sovereignty, or to any other state. Nobody. That's why I started with Abiola. Nobody is going to come here to solve our problem. It will cost them money. They are sovereign states. They can't come to spend for you and I. What is it they'll get in our economy to warrant that? That's what will bring them. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump's position on Nigeria is based on information available to him. You cannot change that position by denying everything outright. You're lying. If you start by pointing out the extent to which he is not in error, and in addition you say, with ABCD available, we'll even deal with these ones he's talking about, that will make a lot of sense. In other words, self-deception, saying nice things to make the government or enemies of the government happy is not the solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Chukwu MNI, for that thought-provoking and soul-searching address. I'm sure you will believe, you agree with me that Professor has done justice to this topic, talking about implications and panacea of Donald Trump's warning on growing insecurity in Nigeria. He has highlighted the gaps, the inability of our leadership to address this problem over time, and the fact that the global community is also watching, taking note, and now responding. He highlighted the fact that this is a wake-up call on our leaders to rise up and do the needful. Again, he talks about the double standards, of these international communities and how they cash in on some of these lapses to also exploit their economic benefits. Overall, we believe that no one will solve our problem. We have to do it ourselves. But how do we do it? We have to muster the political will. Thank you very much once again, Professor Ike Ukechukwu, MNI, for giving us this thought-provoking address. So the next speaker, the keynote speaker is, of course, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, a former minister, a very prominent personality, one who has been contributing significantly to the development of this country, especially, on the democratic evolution. And she's going to talk to us on this critical and mandatory constitutional amendments for credible elections in Nigeria. And I want to believe all of us would want to hear what she would say, and of course take away some of these things for the betterment of our electoral democracy. Doctor, put a round of applause for her as she comes forward for this very important address.
Dr. Obi Ezekwesili.
Thank you so very much. And I really want to acknowledge all the citizens of this country attending this very important conversation on what we must do to bring electoral integrity to our democracy. Elections are the foundational backbone of what democracy represents, which is the only competitive system for determining who governs a country. It is, in fact, the reason that Winston Churchill said, democracy is the worst form of government until you've tried all the others. Sure, those of us who grew up not voting for the better part of our lives until the end of military rule in 1993. That was my first time of voting. And we cherish the democratic ideals so much. However, it was botched. And then we carried on with militarization, especially the despotic militarization that happened during that period until 1999. And the advent of our transition to democracy following the 1999 elections seemed to have marked a glorious turn of events for our country. Unfortunately, the only thing we can absolutely celebrate is that we have maintained a determination to stay the course of democratic form of government. And that's because we have practiced democracy in the breach. And so what we call the principle and the practice of democracy have not earned us laurels in all global democratic indicators. We actually, in the Economists of London annual democracy indicator, come in the category of democracies that are called hybrid democracies. We're in the lower bottom of that ranking. And we know that the most important driver of our democratic lapses come from the fact that the fundamental concept of democracy as competition is distorted through the electoral system. So we gather at a time when the lowest level of public trust in any institution is what hangs over INEC, following the unmitigated disaster and the fiasco of the conduct of the 2023 elections. Therefore, reforms that would address the core challenges of independence, credibility, and capacity that have plagued Nigerian elections are the only pathway to rebuilding confidence in the elections umpire. These are the key reforms that I consider critical to strengthening the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and to herald the integrity of our country's electoral processes. Institutions are said to be the bedrock of democracy. The independence, integrity, and the capacity of institutions as organizational systems determine whether the objectives for which they have been set will be achieved. And so I start with financial and operational autonomy. Direct funding from the Consolidated Revenue Fund and transparency of expenditure by INEC should be on the table for electoral reforms. INEC should receive allocations directly without going through the executive branch ensuring independence from political interferences. The Commission's budget should be protected and released in full and on time to enable proper election planning. In return, INEC, which is one of the institutions bedeviled by corruption, should be mandated to adopt the full principles of open budgeting and spending, working with civil society to track every money spent in order to ensure accountability. Number 2 is we need, for organizational strength, enhanced prosecutorial powers for INEC. INEC currently relies on the police and the Attorney General for prosecution of electoral offenses. The absence of any credible investigation and conviction for electoral offenses has led to a country where there are no deterrences for bad behavior. As a matter of fact, that gap is the reason that people repeat the behaviors that infringe fraudulently on our electoral system and democracy. Granting INEC its own prosecutorial unit or guaranteed access to dedicated prosecutors would ensure timely action against electoral violation. My next set of points are on technological and procedural improvements. Number 1 under this category is mandatory electronic transmission of results. Here, I argue that codifying the use of technology for results transmission in order to make it entirely explicit would reduce the opportunities for the manipulations, massive manipulations that we saw in the 2023 elections. These manipulations happened during the collation process. Should we codify the use of technology for results transmission, it would be very clear when it has been infringed upon. The current legal ambiguity around transmission of results will create many more controversies if not immediately fixed. Number 2 under that category of technological and procedural improvements is expanded time frames for electoral activities. INEC often struggles with compressed timelines. Extending periods for voter registration, candidate nomination, and election preparation would improve quality and accessibility. Number 3, under this category, we do need to strengthen the result collation procedures. The results collation procedures, clearer guidelines and oversight mechanisms for collation at ward, local government, and state levels would reduce disputes and manipulation opportunities. These may seem like very normal points, but I have to tell you that a certain friend of mine, a globally respected economist, Professor Joe Stiglitz, won his Nobel Prize for the simplest observation of what clarity of information does to ensure effectiveness and efficiency of outcomes. our democracy is distorted simply because there is what we call asymmetry of information. Every time you have such, there will definitely be distortions. The number three of the broad outlines of things, structural and governance reforms. Structural and governance reforms. Under this one, I say transparent appointment processes. So I canvass for the reform of the process for appointing INEC commissioners. I think most of them that are sitting there now are members of the ruling party. Absolutely nothing. Nothing recommends the processes for appointing commissioners to any form of public involvement. And so, how do you expect people who are partisan to be part of an independent electoral body? That's an oxymoron. So, we must reform the process for appointing INEC commissioners and the chair to ensure merit-based selection with input from civil society, reducing partisan influence. We need to stagger their terms in order to prevent wholesale replacement by one administration. Number two, under this category, I canvass for staff professionalization, that we need to create a career structure within INEC with proper training requirements and job security for permanent staff, reducing reliance on ad hoc workers during the elections. Number three, under this, I say we need to enhance stakeholder engagement. We need to mandate regular consultations with political parties, civil society, and citizen observers with formal mechanisms for incorporating feedback. And I think that I have just two more categories to go, and I would hand the mic to you, moderator. The fourth category, legal and enforcement mechanisms. Legal and enforcement mechanisms. Number one, under this category, I call for expedited electoral dispute resolution. Pre-election disputes often are not resolved before elections occur. Creating fast-track mechanisms for electoral cases would prevent disenfranchisement. It is because of this particular problem that we have all kinds of people who were never candidates of their party in democracy properly so-called, just written in, and between the corrupted influence of our politicians, citizens got people that they had not at all intended would be their leaders. Number two, under this, stronger penalties for electoral offenses. Current penalties are often too weak to deter violations. Increasing fines and jail terms for vote buying, result falsification, and violence would strengthen deterrence. Number three, clear authority over security agencies. They've become one of the greatest problems of our democracy. INEC should have explicit legal authority to direct security agencies assigned to them during election, ensuring that they respond to electoral needs rather than political pressures. And my final set of points are where I talk about that a strong case for a twin judicial set of reforms to complete and consolidate the strengthening of INEC. The judiciary's involvement in electoral matters has become deeply troubling and undermines democratic consolidation. Therefore, the completeness of rebuilding electoral integrity must not stop with INEC reforms. It should extend to addressing key issues and instituting relevant judicial reforms. Nigerians are aghast at the courtroom democracy. Courtroom democracy. That's what we practically now have. Go to court, because they know exactly where the court would go. So, Nigerians are aghast at the courtroom democracy phenomenon, whereby elections are increasingly decided in courts rather than the polling stations, delegitimizing the power of citizens to determine their leaders. Since 1999, numerous governors, senators, and even presidential candidates have had their mandates nullified or confirmed through lengthy litigations, sometimes years after taking office. This creates a perception that judicial decisions, not voters, determine electoral outcomes. Inconsistent and contradictory rulings. Different courts often issue conflicting judgments on similar electoral issues. Lower courts sometimes contradict higher courts, and even the Supreme Court decisions have been criticized for internal inconsistencies. This erodes public confidence in both elections and the judiciary. The real problem is not judicial involvement per se. It is that courts have become the primary arena for contesting elections. Because, number one, INEC's credibility is sometimes, in fact, is in these days very questionable, forcing aggrieved parties to go to court. Politicians lack faith in INEC's dispute resolution. The judiciary itself has become politicized and inconsistent, and that really breaks my heart. Because once upon a time in this country, if you could not trust any institution, you could fairly trust our judiciary. Am I correct? Yes, once upon a time. There are insufficient deterrents against frivolous litigation. Meaningful reform requires simultaneously strengthening INEC's capacity and credibility while making the judiciary more credible, efficient, consistent, and resistant to manipulation. One without the other won't solve the problem, ladies and gentlemen. So I do leave you with a sense that our courts, when involved in elections, must realize that this system of technicalities over substance reduces our democracy to the lowest common denominator. And for us as a people, we must come together to resist a devaluation of our democracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, for that very enriching, of course, enlightening address on, of course, the critical and mandatory constitutional amendments for credible elections in Nigeria. A round of applause for Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. I think she has captured the essence and, of course, some of the challenges militating against our electoral processes, talking about some of the critical needs for institutional reform in particular, INEC must be strengthened to be able to deliver credible elections. She talked about, the need to build trust and, of course, credibility of the processes so that, we have the intended outcome. She talked about, the need to also reform the governance, structural and governance processes, especially the appointment process of INEC chairman and, of course, other appointees, to insulate it from the partisan, posture that many have raised concerns about. Thank you very much, Doctor, once again for that wonderful speech. We have quite a number of other issues to talk about. We have sessions, panel sessions that we're going to address, to engage. But before then, we'll also take some remarks. First, we're going to take a remark from the former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, who happens to be here early enough to, witness this very important occasion. Your Excellency, you can come forward for a brief remark on this very important subject matter.
Thank you, MC. Let us welcome Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi to the microphone. He's been here since 10 a.m. We'd like to appreciate your contribution to the success of this event. You are welcome.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. No, good afternoon. Indeed, I was wondering whether I shouldn't leave. I will leave after the speech. The first place to start is, where are those we invited for this ceremony? You say they are all here. Where are they? I can't see the two former vice presidents, and the former president and the former vice president. I can't see him. I can't see them. I can't see my former colleague, P2B. So how do we then fight for, the reform we're asking for? Will it be easy if everybody is not participating? I have spoken before. I spoke yesterday on this issue. I don't know what new thing I will add. The only thing I will add to this will be that you are the citizens. Citizens' participation will stop those who don't want reform. Would government give you reform? No. Government won't give you reform. Don't wait for NLC. There's no NLC. I hear their members are somewhere here. There is no ASU. There is no NANS. I was a student leader in the 1980s. In the 1980s, there is no student action without NLC. There is no student action without ASU. We will usually meet either in Benin, Kano, Kaduna, River State. We go around. Now, if you call NLC for any action, that's when they will know that from north or from south or from east or from west. It's not going to be easy. And please stop electing people and going to complain after. If you want to elect people you can hold accountable for. The problem with Nigeria is lack of accountability. Somebody can come here now and shoot you and nothing will happen. Absolutely nothing will happen. The person who will even be hiding, they will know the person and nothing will happen. It's not the country, it's not that we lack law. What we lack is the rule of law. There are laws, National Assembly, State Assemblies, everybody's passed laws here and there, but nothing is happening. So I will repeat exactly what I said yesterday. If you are waiting for government to make any reform, you are wasting your... Before election, there must be resistance to those who don't want proper election. If you do it after election, you're also wasting your time. We must agree as a people that we must resist just very few Nigerians who are just enriching themselves. They are politicians, they are contractors.
You can't be a politician and a contractor. You have to choose one. You can't be the two. So I said Nigerians are hungry. If they are not hungry, I'm hungry. Some people are abusing me. Look at this man. You have been in office for how many years? He says speaker, minister, governor. Okay, they expect me to go and steal. No problem. That's not even an issue. But whether I'm hungry or not, are Nigerians not hungry? So why are those few people who are supporting the government saying they are not hungry? They are not hungry because they are joining in the stealing. The stealing is beyond what we fought for. So if you continue the way we are going, in the next 3-4 years, we'll gather here again. I gave an example in the last yesterday's session. I said when we were in government, Buhari swore that he will one legacy he will leave behind is electoral reform, that he will ensure that his government will make sure that votes counted. When the National Assembly brought the bill, some politicians went to him, pushed him beyond measure, not to sign that law. And he did not sign the law. So there were no electoral reforms. Today, those politicians are on the other side. They are not asking for electoral reform. So the same thing. If tomorrow President Tinubu and his people are defeated in election in 2027 by the action of the citizens, citizens come out and hold them responsible the way they were held in Lagos. After, when the new government is sworn in, they will go across and they'll be shouting for what? Electoral reform. So most Nigerians who speak about this electoral reform is dependent on where their stomach is facing. If their stomach is facing the wrong place, they will want electoral reform. If they are chopping, they will tell you that they were taught in primary school that it is wrong to eat and chop and do what? And talk. So I wish you well. I've told you this gathering will not be enough. Talking whatever they want to say here is, for me, will not achieve the objective. What will achieve the objective is when we all citizens gather and say, enough is what? Enough. If you don't say it, this is not the first time I've been saying it to. Nobody here will say, this man only talks when he's out of government. I was governor when I say, if you don't stone us, if you don't stone politicians, they will continue to steal because the system does not stop them. The only politicians they arrest are politicians who are against the government in power. If you are with government and you're stealing, you will be chopping, nothing will happen. But if you're not in government, you're not supporting government, they will catch you for chopping previously. And that you must vomit it. Unless you say, I support you, it's okay, you can keep what you have stolen. So citizens' action is necessary. Don't wait for those people who say they are one thing. I've said about NLC, I've talked about ASU, I've talked about NAS. They are no longer in existence. They now carry talks. Didn't you watch NAS election? They had talks. They had vehicles. The government now appoints leaders of those institutions who will be NLC president, who will be MBA president, who will be ASU president. It's not government that does it. Even me, as chairman of Governors Forum, when the president tried to intervene, we resisted it. We didn't allow him. But I now hear that the chairman of Governors Forum was appointed by the president. So what will governors say? I wish you luck. I thank you for gathering, but the outcome of this discussion will not cause electoral reform. What will cause electoral reform is not only that you should vote, is that you go against those who will stop you from your result being announced. It happened in Lagos. So when you say the president is invisible, he is not invisible. I've worked with him, I know him. When you say the results are already written, they are helping to fuel that conversation so that it won't come out. You get the point? If you come out en masse, nobody will write any result. Nobody will take away the result sheet. Because anybody who takes away the result sheet is probably going to cause confusion for himself. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Rotimi Amechi, for that wonderful remarks. As you've heard from him, seems to be calling for citizens' engagement or citizen action towards holding leadership accountable. And of course, he believed that citizens' action could change the current narrative. Thank you very much once again, Your Excellency Rotimi Amechi. Before we go to the next item, we have quite a number of people to recognize. As you can see, quite a number of dignitaries have been coming in. We have in our midst, I've seen Dr. Usman Bugaji, a former House of Reps. Doctor, I think you need to be on the high table. Yes, you've been recognized. I think you need to be on the high table. Okay. I've also seen, a while ago, coming in to the hall, Senator that represented Kaduna Central, talking about Senator Shehu Sani. One of also the people who have played a key role in shaping our democratic journey. A round of applause for Senator Shehu Sani. I've also seen the chairman of the Interparty Advisory Council, talking about Yusuf Dantale, who happens to join us in the course of this conversation. You're highly welcome. There's quite a number of other dignitaries. Dr. Akio Papoda is from the Afenifere, he's a director of research. We appreciate your coming. We also have in our midst Comrade Mark Adebayo, who is the national coordinator of New Direction, that's Movement for Nigeria. A round of applause for him. We have in our midst another senator, distinguished Senator Ikechukwu Obiora. We also appreciate your presence.
A round of applause for him, please.
Also in our midst is Ahmed Rufai Khalil, who is the Board of Trustee Chairman of the Upright Nigeria Foundation. We appreciate your coming. Thank you. We also have in our midst Ambassador Splendor Akpompo, who is the Executive Director, Initiative for Leadership and Economic Watch in Nigeria. A round of applause for him. Okay, we'll continue to recognize our dignitaries as they arrive, but you would appreciate the fact that we've made substantial progress, in this very important summit. So far, we've had, the key lectures from our keynote speakers. We will now be going for an overview. That is a presentation of summit objectives, which is to be done by the DG of the LOC himself. Once again, a round of applause for all of us for being a part of this history.
Thank you, MC. Yes, I'm here again to take a short task before calling on our distinguished panelists to intervene. Just to take you through the summit objectives, and they are contained at the back of the program. The National Political Summit on Electoral Reforms 2020 is a pan-Nigeria multi-stakeholders dialogue designed to examine urgent constitutional amendment essential for credible elections, launch a formidable citizens-led movement for credible election as an advocacy platform in Nigeria, provide an inclusive space for political stakeholders, government institutions, citizens to share solutions, foster partnership between the civil society, private sector, and government for credible elections in Nigeria. This summit is convened in commemoration of Nigeria Independence Anniversary 2005, symbolizing a renewed commitment of the democratic future of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that is the summit for you. Now we want to go to the panel session. And we'll be calling to the panel session very distinguished Nigerians who are here to intervene on the subject matter being discussed. Like I told you earlier in my remark for the chairman, that this is the gathering that will save the country, because we have the critical mass of the country gathered here today. And whatever we do here today becomes law. Here we are to save Nigeria from insecurity, electoral illegitimacy, etc., etc. Therefore, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege to call to the table, to the panel session, Honorable Dr. Osman Bugaje. A round of applause for him, please. Dr. Bugaje, to the panel session, come on the high table here to take your seats. We also have Senator Shehu Sani. Senator Shehu Sani, please. Senator Ike Chukwu Obiora, you are invited to the panel session. Senator Ike Chukwu Obiora, Mr. Peter Hame, Chief Peter Hame, Patience Ididiki, representing the diaspora. Malam Tanko Yunusa, representing Mr. Peter Obi. Malam Tanko Yunusa. The IPAC chairman, please. Alhaji Yusuf Dantale, IPAC chairman. May I also recognize Dr. Fakunda of the Patriots. Dr. Akinpa Fakunda. We are not leaving. Yes, because we still have a role to play in the closing session. Dr. Akinpa Fakunda. Yes, I think we are set with that. But then we are going to take a major speech from Prince Barrister Adewale Adebayo, so that which they will respond to. It's going to give us a major remarks, a major statement that will be discussed. So, Barrister Adewale Adebayo, we want to invite you to make a major presentation. Prince Adewale Adebayo is going to make a major remarks, and then we are going to take contributions from the panelists.
How are you, sir? Oh, my sister. How are you? Distinguished. Excellent. Yes, oh, how are you, sir? Good to see you, sir. Oh, pleasure. Thank you, man. Nice to see you. Yes, a pleasure. Yeah. Hey, thank you. Chairman or chairman?
Thank you.
Nice having you here. Thank you. Thank you very much, fellow Nigerians. It's a good day to be here to speak on electoral reforms in Nigeria. There are a few things that I want us to bear in mind. Reform or deform. There is no way to stay static in nature. If you refuse to reform voluntarily, you'll be deformed by the circumstances around. If you listen to Nigerians, we have democratized grievances. So when an ordinary Nigerian who has been praying and working for the fruition of our democracy to come to them, when they start complaining, those who have been in government since 1999 have also learned that they too should start complaining. So if you listen to my learned friend who just left here, Governor Rotimi Amechi, or Minister Rotimi Amechi, or Speaker Rotimi Amechi, or Aspirant Rotimi Amechi, he complained bitterly about why we didn't do reform, why the common people are not trying enough, why all the leftist movement, all the labor movement, all the civil societies have failed. And he's very embittered by that. But I will say that, given our history, we were not supposed to have militant organizations. Those who have had the privilege to preside over the affairs of Nigeria cannot blame Nigerians for not killing them, burning their houses, doing revolution against them. You cannot say because Nigerians happen to be gentle people and we have learned from the lessons of history that we can gradually put pressure on ourselves to be better and that we should not resort to drastic revolutionary measures. That is not enough to say that these institutions have not been working. I salute member of ASU, I salute member of the NLC and TUC and other labor unions. And I salute the civil society that despite all the years of discouragement, we have not stopped talking. And I think we should not be discouraged by any feeling that whatever you do will not matter. It matters. Coming here today to talk about electoral reform matters because not only do we need electoral reforms, we need reforms in every aspect of our national life. And if we start electoral reform, it's because it is from the electoral system that you elect other reformers. And if the electoral system that is to bring the reformers itself is not properly reformed, you will not have a system where you're having a still bath of your democracy. What is wrong with our democratic system? Some of it is just a matter of age. If you have a democratic system that has not stayed for long, that has not become part of the culture of the people, you will have certain teaching problems. And if you doubt me, see the challenge in Europe today. Many governments in Europe are not able to form proper administrations. You see how the French are struggling with their electoral system. You see how they are struggling in the UK with their governance system. You see the almighty America having a dictator in a civilian dress testing their system for them. And you see that the government has been shut down in Washington and they are struggling to keep the offices open. And their civil servants are queuing for food because their salaries have not been paid. What it means is that democracy is one school you will never graduate from. It's one exam you will never pass. If you pass an exam in democracy, it only entitles you to the next exam. So don't be discouraged and say, let's give up. These people will not give us the reform we need. We will get the reform. Even where we are today, you can go and ask Shehu Sani and many of those who survive. To hold a microphone and be talking about democracy will get you thoroughly arrested. You will get you imprisoned. You can ask Professor Bukaje. You can ask many of those who are surprised today that they are alive. It shows to you that many things that were not possible in the past have become possible. I, growing up in Nigeria in the 90s, I have my friend here, Mr. Salas Alani. We both were sure, 99%, that I will not do a 30th birthday. If anybody told me that I would be 30 years old, I didn't believe it because I thought that we were going to die fighting the military. So there's no point. Even when I was at university, I was just thinking, what's the point in studying anyway? We are going to die. Because this military will not live, I will not leave them alone, and all of us will die. But in 1998, Salami Abubakar came, And the military changed their mind and said they were leaving. And we have done 26 years. The only mistake we have made is that we have become too comfortable. We believe that if we just keep our democracy going, or our civil rule, which we call democracy, if we keep going, that in itself is enough achievement. But what today is telling us is that democracy must have meaning in the life of the people. And for democracy to have meaning, it must be played in such a way that the politics is clean, and that the politics is fair, and that the politics is predictable, that if you are popular with the people, you will win the election. And if you win the election, you have to govern according to the wish of the people. If you don't, you will lose the next election. Now, there are 5 issues I will mention, and I will not elaborate. If you need further questions, I will answer them later. 1, people are using politics to define Nigeria. Nobody is satisfied with their lot in the country. So every election we have, we are using it to solve existential problems. So Dr. Fagbon that is here now, he is here because he doesn't like the constitution we have. He doesn't like the distance between us, it's too close. If you give him confederation, he'll be very happy. So there is nothing you do. If you don't give him that, he is not successful. Second, we have a political class that don't know anything about governance. But they know that if you are in government, government will pay your bills. You won't suffer. So politics is their own escape from poverty and underdevelopment. So they must be playing the politics of the incumbency forever. And when you mention electoral reform, it's like you want to remove the social safety nets from them because they must continuously be in government. The third problem we are facing is that we have a restless generation that has been denied every benefit of citizenship. No economic participation, no social welfare, no employment, no freedom, and the election is the means by which we will resolve this problem. But some of them, what do? They believe that, well, during the election time, at least these politicians will need me. So whatever they give me, I will collect from them. And they don't want to come forward to push. The fourth problem we have is the problem of sentiments that have no bearing on governance. Anytime we sit down in a seminar like this, people are talking about Nigeria's problem, they will be eloquent about it. But when we start our politics, it is sentiment we use to do our politics. It is the turn of the south. The sun rises from the east, so it should set in the west. And all these geography lessons. And then we go to religion. The president, if Muslim, the Christian must be fired, all sorts of things. And every election season, it becomes that. Then the last problem we have, which is the one I think we should pay attention to. People want to be in a good country without being good citizens. So we are good at pointing at the act of another person, not our own. So when we run political party, Dantale is here, he knows everything about political party. Next to him is another genius of political party, Tanko, you know, sir. And then you have the big baby of Nigerian politics, Peter Ame. Everybody here knows about politics. The political parties are the worst mistakes you can make. So we need to now build strong political parties, reform the political parties before you can reform INEC. Because you can't do politics without joining political parties. And if political parties don't have principles, that is the factory from which you train leaders. So as we are working towards electoral reform, I will conclude by saying it is good to look at INEC, but INEC is not 100% of electoral reform. And the cat is out of the bag. Because they have already appointed the man who is going to be in charge of the election for the next 5 years. And they have had their discussion inside the bedroom. We didn't know what they discussed. So anything you are saying now about electoral reform, it is just too late. You can hope that Mr. or Professor Amukwitan will listen to you, and he will listen to what his mother and grandmother told him about doing good when you have the opportunity. But I will not fail without making one mistake, and I don't want to fail. I won't make that mistake. In speaking about the situation of Mr. Trump and his interests in Nigeria, I will say 3 things. I thank Mr. Trump for showing interest in Nigeria at all. Because speaking squarely, he can ignore us. We are not that relevant to them. He can ignore us and not speak. And we should not be ungrateful, because he's even more mindful about our situation in what he says. I don't know his heart, but in what he says, he's more mindful than some of our leaders who are responsible for our security. Second thing is that we should not be tempted to turn Trump into our own old debates. There is no solution that can come from Trump or anybody that want to help only one section of the country to survive insecurity without helping the other section. It is not possible. Even the Pope cannot do it. To come and rescue Christians in Nigeria and not rescue Muslims or rescue other people. So we must not use the Trump intervention as a basis to litigate our hatred for each other or our old grievances. It should not become a Christian, Muslim, whatever debate. It is an insecurity question. So we must, if anybody wants to come and help us, that methodology means that you want to help every Nigerian. You cannot help one person or the other. It's not practicable. It's not possible. Lastly, our government should be in shame. And they should use that shame to solve the problem. Trump will not come if Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says, in the next 30 days, nobody will be killed again. It will take America up to 60 days to put their command everywhere together. In that short period, you can restore order in the country if you want to. But what they are doing now, they are using the security as an excuse to loot all the money. The Nigerian armed forces, the way I know them, they can protect the whole of West Africa if you let them do it. But they cannot protect their own barracks if you say they should not do it. So it is clear that President Tinubu is in the long line of presidents who have turned against the people and used insecurity to siphon money. So it is good that justice is coming to him now, because it was one of those embassies that went to Barack Obama to cry that Goodluck Jonathan was killing the people. Now his judgment has come to the house of Tinubu. And last point, let nobody come and argue about sovereignty too much. Sovereignty is true, but under international law, of which I am a postgraduate in international law, sovereignty that conflicts with international humanitarian law will be ignored. That's why we have the Warsaw Convention and all of that. That's why they try leaders for war crimes. The fact that you have sovereignty over your people doesn't mean you can kill them as you like or neglect them as you like. And to give a more personal example, where was sovereignty when President Tinubu said he wanted to invade Niger? If he could be dreaming of invading Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso, because they did military coups there, why can somebody not invade him? Because he's neglecting his people. So in conclusion, Let us put fire to the feet of our government to protect us. Let us be grateful to international community talking about us. But if we, as I prefer, decide to solve the problem at home, Muslim, Christian, enemies, whatever, we must come together. You cannot deny, there's no way I can be told to deny that certain communities in Nigeria feel genocided and attacked. Why do I say so? It's a subjective thing. In the last 2 years, I've contributed money to repair, rebuild up to 50 churches. So, I have comforted over 1,000 dead. Go to any of these churches, I've gone there quietly without carrying camera. You can go and ask all the leaders. So it is not today that Trump told me that people are feeling genocided. And I have met with also leaders of certain ethnic groups in certain places. I've had Fulanis telling me that in certain communities, the other groups want to kill them. And they're running after their cattle, roasting their cattle, trying to kill them. So in Nigeria, the question of whether there's genocide or not is not a debate that the government can be discussing. If your people are losing their lives in dozens, you already failed the primary assignment of governance, and we should not waste our time debating the issue. The solution to that problem is that President Tinubu can use the bullet to kill the terrorists or use the pen to resign. Thank you.
I think Prince deserves a louder round of applause, if not a standing ovation. That was a very, very tough remark. Of course, soul-searching, and of course, thank you very much, Prince Adebayo, for that very insightful remarks. And of course, I want to remind you the fact that right now, as you can see on the screen, we are also, this event is also beamed live on KAFTAN TV, as you can see. And of course, we should appreciate by another round of applause. So looking at the high table, on this side, you can see that the organizers have done another great job bringing together, very critical stakeholders, very prominent in nationhood and, of course, our democratic journey in Nigeria. You can see they were able to assemble, top personalities who have been making wonderful contributions in this journey of our nationhood. So our panelists will be given opportunity to speak on the two critical talking points. They may decide to choose which one they want to intervene on. The first one is, of course, implications and panacea of Donald Trump's warning on growing insecurity in Nigeria. And the second talking point is, of course, critical and mandatory constitutional amendments for credible elections in Nigeria. So you may wish to pick either of these talking points, but you have, or both, depending on, but then you have to confine yourself within the 5 minutes allotted. Let me recap. On the high table here, on the panelists, we have Dr. Usman Bagaji. We also have Senator Shehu Sani. We have Senator Kichuku Obiora. We have High Chief Peter Ame. We have Dr. Yunus Etanko. And lastly, we also have Yusuf Dentele, who is the IPAC chairman. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for... okay. We have Lady Patience, indeed, from the diaspora. A round of applause for her. Right, okay, so we'll start with Dr. Usman Bagaji. You can decide to take any of the talking points. No. Okay, we are starting from this. Okay. Okay. All right.
Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me first say when Rotimi Amici spoke, you remember he asked where are the big men, right? Where was the president, former president, former vice president? I'm glad that they are not here. Basically, I think we have to graduate from the politics of big men to the politics of big ideas. You see, we have become obsessed with this idea of big men. So when you speak about political parties, you do not speak of parties in terms of the content of the party and what the party represents. But you speak about, okay, His Excellency former this is there, His Excellency former this is there. Even as we know, these excellencies are the very people who have destroyed this country. So for goodness sake, how do we hope to make progress if we are bringing the same people who have destroyed the same country and asking them to reform the elections or to reform whatever we want them to reform? So I think the starting point is that we as citizens, we have to mentally make this paradigm shift from talking about big men to talking about big ideas. The world today is driven by big ideas, not by big men. That's one point. The second point, I think, is that for me, and I think for quite a number of us, I have seen a number of comrades and colleagues in this business of improving the elections in this country. For the last 15 years, I have attended a number of these. I've been in committees, we have written reports, open reports, but every election turns out to be worse than the election that we have had before. So I don't think we should be repeating the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. Because Einstein, I think, is the one who said, repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is actually a definition of insanity. We would be crazy to be thinking that things are going to improve. I think all of us here, especially members of this forum that has invited all of us to come, are well aware that the body language of this government and the government before it, and even the government before that, is not for any electoral reform. Even if you succeed in pushing any reform, that reform is not going to be respected. Those rules of law are not going to be respected. And for goodness sake, why do we repeat the same thing over? So I would have said, I would have thought, if we are going to have any discussion on our elections, it will be actually, discussion on electoral rigging rather than reform, because that's the real problem. We should be discussing how do we stop rigging. That should be the next conference. I don't think we should bother ourselves about reform or even constitutional amendment. And I sometimes think that I actually suspect Wale Okoni is like he's working for this government. Why do you want us to this is a red herring, really, taking away our attention from the real thing. The real thing that is confronting us is rigging. So why don't we actually have a conference on rigging? And I can tell you, if you have a conference on electoral rigging, the government will wake up. If you talk about reform for the next 100 days, the government is not going to be bothered about, because they control the National Assembly, they control INEC, they control the courts, they control everybody, even the clergy, the ulama. So why do they bother? But when you speak about electoral rigging, I can assure you they will wake up. Now, I think there are three things I'll just make very quickly. We have, I think, the whole idea of the reform is actually to improve our country. We want Nigeria to be where it should be. Nigeria should be ahead of where Brazil is, ahead of where Malaysia is, ahead of Singapore. These are its peers. They should be there. Why are we not there? And in the next 25 years, like some of you know, Nigeria is going to be the third largest country in the world in terms of population. And in the next 25 years, Africa will have doubled its population. It will have the youngest population in the world. The mean age will be 19. And it will have all the minerals that the world is looking for to get to the next century. So Nigeria has a role to play. But we are not preparing it for this. And so the point now is basically, how do we remove the obstacles that have kept us down and has prevented us from being where we should be? One of them, and I'll just mention three, is the fact that we have allowed the criminals amongst us to use religion to divide us. So we have to address the issue of manipulation of religion. Many of the politicians who are funding churches, funding mosques and ulama, many of them are criminals who benefit from this division. Because they only win their elections when there is crisis and division. And therefore we should address this issue as citizens. Secondly, up till now, we have no idea of where we want our country to be in the next 10 years, the next 15 years, the next 25 years. We as elite, we have no consensus as to where we want our country to be. We have allowed politicians, if they care, to have a policy document for their election, then we read, and they are the ones who will decide for us where they want to take us. We as citizens, we have a responsibility to come together, craft a document that will be very clear as to where we want our economy to be, where we want our society to be, where we want our human capital to be. There are metrics that are used to measure progress and development. We should use those metrics to show exactly, and there should be a national consensus among elites, so that when people come to speak or to seek for leadership, we can now measure their capacity based on where we really want our country to be in the next few years. If, for example, we want the GDP to get to where it wants to be, with the Human Development Index to be the human capital, energy consumption, transport, the number of mileage of rail, and these are the things, because for development you need three basic things. You need energy, you need transport, you need skills. Where are they? Who is talking about them? Who is fixing them? So we need a document on which there should be a national consensus. The other thing that I think we also need to ensure is the fact that in the next 1 year, if the reforms pass through, we are going to be at elections, isn't it? We have seen what has happened in Cameroon. We have seen Tanzania. We have seen Madagascar. We have seen a number of countries. We have seen Kenya. What are we doing to prepare for our Cameroon, for our Kenya, for our Tanzania? Where are the elites providing the leadership? If the crisis brews and explodes, what are we going to do? What scenarios are we expecting? We have to manage the scenarios that are likely to unfold. Finally, I think we complain a lot. And I think we have to wake up to the reality of the world. In the real world, nobody gets what he deserves. Everybody gets what he negotiates for. And the currency for that negotiation is power. You ain't got power, you ain't got nothing. The good news is power has variety of sources. Power is not only military, power is not only political, power is not only economic. Power can be intellectual, it can be moral, can be demographic. We need to harvest those other sources of power to be able to negotiate where we want to be and what we want to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Dr. Usman Bagaji for that wonderful contribution. I understand Senator Shehu Sani has a flight to catch up with, so perhaps we'll skip and allow him to speak at this juncture. Senator Shehu Sani, yes, come forward for intervention.
Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, I must appreciate the honor and the privilege, and also appreciate Mr. Wale Akuni for refusing to be tired for over 2 decades and a half, always trying to find answers to problems that have continuously defied solutions. I'm actually tired of talking about electoral reforms. Right in this hall, in the last 25 years, we have been talking about reforms. I can remember sometimes in the year 2000, 2001, in the seats there you have the like of Solomon La, Alex Ekwemi, Chuba Okadibo, Rimi, we're all sitting here. This hall, if it can speak. Great men who have now passed on to our Lord. They are all here. And we are still talking about the same thing. So that is why I said, when I saw the topic, I said, this is still the same issue, and this is where we are. Recently, I made a post, and I asked this question: how can you and I win election without pumping in hundreds of millions of naira? That's the question. Because many good people, many people with vision, many people with ideas, many people of honor and respect can't get into the position of leadership in this country because they don't have money to share. And you now say, this is the ruling party and this is the opposition. Now let's put them on the table. If you are a member of the APC, you still need millions of naira to buy nomination form. If you are a member of the ADC, of the PDP, of the SDP, of the Labour Party, you still need that millions of naira to buy form. So you can see how things never changes. If you are a member of the ruling party, you impose your stooges as excos of the party. If you are a member of any of this opposition, it's still the same thing. If you are a member of the APC, you have to pay delegates to win primary elections. And if you are a member of any of the opposition, you have to do the same. So it's like a ritual. If you are a member of the APC, you will be advised that you have to settle voters And if you are a member of opposition, you will still be advised, lest if you refuse to do it. You see, we are all angling for the support of the illiterates, the masses we are voting for, we are fighting for. If you go to your constituency and gather the masses in a hall like this, and you talk to them about how they are oppressed, how they are killed, how they are denied their rights, how they are exploited, how they are plundered, make sure you have transport money to give them and money for feeding. Because if you don't do that, by the time you are talking, half of them will be sleeping and half will move out of the hall that you invite them to waste their time. This is what it has become. So the opposition in Nigeria is not ideologically different from those in the ruling party. It is Team A of the ruling class and Team B of the ruling class. Everything is the same. Don't waste your time. If you think it's not the same, okay, go and join the opposition and contest without money. It's still the same. Comrade Amechi is not here, and I wish he's here. And I've responded to him. You see, many of you here hoped and prayed one day you will be members of State House of Assembly, you will be members of House of Reps, or you will be senators, or you will be governors, because you believe that when you have the levers of power, you will be able to change this country, make impact in your society, and advance our country to the next stage and next phase of development. Amechi was here talking about Tinubu, talking about Nigerians. He was one of those who was so blessed by Nigeria in every sense of the word. Many of you here have, in your family, you have never had a counselor. And then one man was a speaker for 8 years, governor for 8 years, minister for 8 years. How blessed can a man be? And then 2 years after power, he has seen the fault of the country. If you can attack the government, can attack the system, you have that innocence and that stainless history of never being in government. You have the right. You have never been a councillor, you have never been a local government chairman, you have never been anything. You are just a Nigerian at the receiving end of the failure of governance. You have the right to speak. But if you can sit down here and say we should not look at the messenger and only the message, and you know that one day Tinubu will be out of power and he will stand before you here and talk about the ills of the country. And you should not talk about the messenger again. When people held position of authority and power and they fail to deliver, their communication with the masses and the people should be that of public apology. On that note, under the second standard, what I will say is this. They always deride that people have failed to protest, ASU have failed, NLC have failed, people have failed to come out and demonstrate and whatever. What stops him from mobilizing people in Unity Fountain to the villa against Tinubu? You only need to post on social media that I'm leading a protest. You don't have to wait for ASU, you don't have to wait for NLC, you don't have to wait for poor young people who will face the bullet, or you don't have to wait for Showore to do it. You should lead it. And then you look at it from this point of view. Young people, because according to statistics, 60% of Nigerians were born after 1999. By that, it means that 60% of Nigerians have no experience of military rule. Where are they today? They're in social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. But the question is, all of these people, you young people, all of these people you are criticizing, you are opposing, you are fighting, who are in government, were of your age in 1999. But the difference between you and them is that you spend most of your time in the comment section of people in power. The lack of Donald Duke in 1999, the lack of Ujo Zakalu in 1999, the lack of McAfee in 1999 were of the same age with all of you. They had a vision and they had ideas. They struggled through the rigors of politics and captured state power. When they were in power, they were in their 20s and 30s. Today, a 40, a 50-year-old man is mostly on social media. Please, how does it sound? You are 35 years old or 40, protesting to the National Assembly, and your age mate is sent in by the Speaker or House of or Senate President to come and receive your complaints. And it's just very easy. You have to participate. You have to mobilize. You have to win elections. That's the only way you can change your country. In the 90s, after we have fought the military, Chief Gani, for whom a blessed memory, and so many other persons, when the transition program came in 1999, Abdul Salam called us. We are transiting to democracy. Enough of your aluta. Come and organize political party and take over state power. We had a meeting. Wale Okuni is there. We said no, that we'll continue to fight. The likes of Tinubu moved out of that meeting and said no, that he is not going to fight again. He will join the political party and he will take over Lagos. There was a bitter confrontation between those who want to continue to fight and those who want to join the political system. It took us 3 years before we realized that we had made the wrong decision. Gani now said he wants to contest. He couldn't make it. Olisa Obakoba said he wanted to contest. He couldn't make it. Falana wanted to be governor of Ekiti. He couldn't make it. People like me tried. We failed. All those fighters, one of those who fought, who said we should continue to do Aluta. He is still Alutarin. He is the organizer of these conferences. They said, go back to your state and be state governor. He said, no, revolution will come. He is here. Look at him sitting down here in that meeting. And for me, we have to pretend that we are not what we are before we won the Senate. And when we went there, they found out that we have not changed. They have to remove us back to where we come from. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my last message to each and every one of us is this. The elections in Nigeria have always been the same. From 1999 to date, each time you have an election, they will say, this will make or break Nigeria. This will make or mar Nigeria. This election will destroy Nigeria. This election will mark an end to Nigeria. We are 25 years still going on. The question before us as a country and as a people is, we are not different from any other African country. When I read people on social media, it's the British that brought us together, this and that. All African countries are product of colonial demarcations. We can't continue to complain. And the last point I will make here is that there is no country that will come and save you from your problems. None. It has never happened. It has never happened. You have to find your problems, solutions to your problems yourselves. Even if the whole of Nigeria is secured, if Chad is not secured, if Niger is not secured, if Cameroon is not secured, if Benin Republic is not secured, you will never be secured. Those of us, I feel highly impressed by Adebayo. Adebayo, I don't share some of the things he said, but it's not easy in this country to see a president who is Yoruba and a political leader who is Yoruba standing up to say things the president don't like. We defend our leader who comes from our ethnic group. That's what we do in this country, even if they are wrong. And that's one thing you give to the people of the Southwest. If you see protests under Shonekan, is led by the Yoruba people. If you see protests under Obasanjo, is led by the Yoruba people. If you see protests under Tinubu, is more effective in the southwestern part of Nigeria. That is a lesson for us to learn. When our own was in power for 8 years, you dare not talk about insecurity in the north. You dare not. Most of those talking about insecurity in the north today were silent for 8 years. We protect. When I was in the Senate, each time I stood up to speak about insecurity, I get heckled down by the people who come from my own part of the country. I'll give you a last example. Why has the world knew about killings in southern Kaduna and not killings in northern Kaduna? Ask yourself that question. Why does that happen? The reason is very simple. The representatives, the elected representatives of people in southern Kaduna can stand up in the Senate and tell the world of how terrorists and bandits are killing their people. But the elected representative from northern Kaduna, out of ethnic and sectional solidarity with the president, They refuse to tell the world the corpses, the killings, and the massacres going on in their own part of the country. And the world will judge what they see and what they read on social media. So if your people are killed, you don't want to tell the world because you don't want to embarrass your own president. And someone tells the world about it. It is that other person that will be hurt. The general point for all of us is that election is around the corner, and it is for each and every one of us to ask ourselves, where do we want to go from here? All this talk of electoral reform, it will happen. Election happened on Saturday. Like a joke, you will hear that by 9 a.m. in the morning, sensitive election materials have appeared, have been distributed. Election will start by 12 o'clock and end in the next 3 or 4 hours. Counting begins, and the winner emerges, and the election took place with wrappers, spaghetti, rice, soups shared to people. And the same thing happens. And then we blame vote buying and don't talk about vote selling. And that is where our problem comes in. The people in position of power will continue to maintain their position, continue to win elections, and preside over our affairs. And we will continue to comment on social media, thinking that that will change anything. It will never. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Shehu Sani. Another round of applause for him. Even though he has exceeded his allotted time, I think almost triple. Okay, so I'll call on the panelists to be guided by time because of the fact that we also need to hear from the other side of the debate. Before we proceed, I want to bring on to join the panelists, Dr. Bilkisu Megoro. Dr. Bilkisu, you're welcome to the podium. Right. Magoro, sorry. Apologies for that. Apologies for that. Okay, so the next to speak in this order is Senator Okechukwu Obiora. Let's hear from another distinguished senator. But please, let's be guided by the time.
My name is not Okechukwu Obiora. My name is Ikechukwu Obiora. The organizers of this August summit, the nation owes you a debt of gratitude. Once again, my name is Ikechukwu Obiora, and I submitted a bill to the National Assembly for the amendment of the Constitution to provide for the establishment of an independent as in small case, independent National Electoral Commission. And that bill is pending. So I'd like to give you just a little background on that. You know, I observe that, I don't know whether you noticed too, that there is an enduring consensus amongst Nigerians that the prevalence in the nation of hunger and want, poor education and illiteracy, of disease and healthcare crisis for families, of squalor and slum dwelling, you could even add constructive homelessness, of unemployment, of insecurity, is because of the prevalence of poor leadership amongst the 3 tiers and arms of government. Nigerians also agree that the poor leadership including me, because I was a member of the 6th Senate, One thing we must make clear is that all of us political leaders are part of the problem. All of us. We must, so that this poor leadership is a direct result of stolen elections and rigged elections. Dr. Bugaje says that we must address rigging. It is because of rigging that we have poor leadership in the country, because the people are not able to vote their conscience and hold the emerging leaders accountable. And the reason why we have rigged elections perennially, constantly, is mainly because of the conflict, the debilitating conflict of interest inherent in the appointment of electoral officers and electoral bodies by the president and the governors, appointing these people who conduct elections in the same elections in which the president who is appointing will contest, either the president or the governor or their political parties. Let me just share a little anecdote. When I was elected to the Senate in 2007, I said that I was sure that I was going to win, because the party was the party quite prevalent in the society. Then the PDP was everywhere, so there was really no issue about whether we were going to win. You just if you win the primaries, you're going to likely win the election. But so I went. But when I came back, the numbers that came out from that election was outstanding, because in order to measure up vote for the person running running for president on the same ticket, they had to add votes just in case you had some deficit in other areas. But I saw the result, but I still went to the Senate. I was sworn in. I should have said, yes, I won, but please remove these excess votes. I didn't. So I'm telling you, all of us are the problem. Nobody can come out here. Sheikh Hussaini has left. I would have replied him. I would have replied him. All of us. But what can we do? So my bill seeks to strip and transfer the power of appointment from the president and the governor to neutral entities. Specifically speaking, my bill seeks to create a new INEC that is composed by 13 commissioners, 6 of whom would be appointed by 6 Nigerian labor and professional organizations, and 6 that will be nominated by the United Nations, and then 1 nominated by Transparency International. Now, Dr. Bugaje, you are right. We cannot continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. We can't. And I took the liberty of stating that the 6 Nigerian labor and professional organizations that would elect 6 Nigerian commissioners will be Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Polytechnic, Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities, the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Nigeria Bar Association, Nigeria Medical Association, and Nigeria Union of Journalists. Of course, these nominations will still go to the Senate, to the National Assembly for confirmation. But any rejection of any of the commissioners will require a 2/3 majority vote concurrently passed by the Senate and the National Assembly, by the Senate and House of Representatives, voting in person and by secret ballot. So that there is no way from 1960 till date, we've been battling with rigging and rigging and rigging and rigging. We need to do something different. Well, I'm standing today because of the fact of how bold the proposal is. A lot of people feel a little uneasy. So the frequently asked question is it not an infringement of our sovereignty for the United Nations to participate or be involved in our elections? So, and the answer, let me tell you, I gave a lecture to Muslim Tertiary Students Association 2 or 3 months ago, and I laid it out for them clearly that the answer is no, it will not affect our sovereignty, because it is Nigeria as a sovereign nation that will make that request. It's Nigeria. As a matter of fact, United Nations under Article 2.7 of their charter is prohibited from meddling in the internal affairs of member nations. So they wouldn't do that. But those member nations who give consent for the United Nations to help them, to assist them, will receive that assistance. Assistance like humanitarian aid, electoral process, peacekeeping. Those who give that consent will receive that. As a matter of fact, it is noteworthy to see that the United Nations has given electoral assistance to over 100 member nations from 1992 till date. As a matter of fact, the Cambodian election, the Cambodian election of 1922 2000 to 1993 was organized exclusively by the United Nations. And it is also gratifying to know that from the comment sections that I have looked at, Nigerians agree that the involvement of United Nations would bring transparency, neutrality, and competence, because of the fact that these nominees will be least likely to succumb to corruption, to bribery, or intimidation, and they will bring competence. We're talking about vote buying, vote this. It's just incompetence. Because if we had secret booths where people will go in and vote, it means that the vote buyer will not be able to confirm where his customer, the vote seller, will vote in secret. So that solves it. But simple tasks will have the problem. And I should take this opportunity to address the so-called sovereignty. Nigeria today, as we see, is only merely technically a sovereign state. Technically, that is what it is, because the Treaty of Westphalia that brought out the concept of sovereignty made it such that the very first thing, the equation of sovereignty, was the provision of socio-economic benefits to the people, protection from violence and all that. Today in Nigeria, most parts of the northern Nigeria have been lost to bandits. Most parts, sometimes 30%, sometimes 40%. So we are not able to protect our brothers and sisters up north. So where is the sovereignty? All of us Nigerian leaders depend on foreign nations for our medical needs. So ask yourself, where you see our president, a president of Nigeria, lying unconscious on a surgical bed in foreign land, surrounded by foreign doctors, is that sovereignty? Is that sovereignty? Okay, so we can't feed our people. The people in Nigeria today facing food insecurity are almost 70%. If you cannot feed your person, your people, and you're dependent on importing food, which will not be enough, is that sovereignty? That is not sovereignty. And just you should mind that in the next 10 years, we will be about 300 million people. And then what will happen? Since independence, we have spent over 2 trillion in infrastructural development. But unfortunately, 99% of all that big money we spent went abroad because of lack of technical competence in Nigeria. So is that sovereignty? Okay, natural resources. We have mined, harvested, and shipped out our natural resources. And we get only 10%. That rather than 100 people, get only 10%. But the people who ship these to, what do? They process it, refine it, and sell it and get 70%. So meaning that we have enslaved ourselves to the foreign nations. Is that sovereignty? So I am just saying that let's not go and hide under this issue of sovereignty. Let us stop the dispersal. Let us come together under this bill. Let us all come together under this bill to get the National Assembly to pass the bill. And somebody said that it was too late now. It's not too late because our constitutional imperative trumps everything. If we change the constitution tomorrow as to make my bill the epicenter of our electoral process, then that is the ground norm. So there's no lateness. So Dr. Bugaje, I will, as our elder statesman here, I will implore you to implore all the members gathered here today to join hands in the pursuit for the passage of this bill, because only when we have honest elections can we deal with the problems of Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Okechukwu Ogbeora, for that lengthy but of course meaningful contribution. Next to speak on the panel is of course Mr. Patience Ndidi from the diaspora. All right.
Good afternoon, distinguished Nigerians. We are very distinguished. We have to come out of ignorance. We have to come out of not believing in ourselves. We have to come out of, being pushed and pulled around by whomever and whoever. Not believing in yourself is a setback on its own. I want to properly introduce myself because it seems that it's either my name was not properly given or my name is Patience Ndidi. By profession, I'm a healthcare professional. I'm a healthcare entrepreneur, a former presidential aspirant of the People's Redemption Party, a former gubernatorial candidate in Edo State's gubernatorial election, People's Redemption Party. I was a former and first female chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, America's USA, NIDO, United States of America. Currently, I'm serving as the president and CEO of Nigerians in Diaspora Chamber of Commerce, which is a global organization. I'll be speaking on the warning of Trump, the implication, and the panache. You see, the reason is because the reason why we have external interference in our internal issues is because we have not guarded ourselves. We have not put our hearts together. We don't believe in ourselves. I've heard several times people talking about international bodies come and save us, and that's really sad. But all the same, this is not a warning that we should take very lightly. There's something that My brother, before that, I would like to appreciate my brother, Prince Adebayo. This is actually the first time I'm meeting him in person. I'm meeting him in person, but we have done a lot together, even without having seen. I've been featured and taken care of by KAFTAN TV from the United States, and when I was running for elections, and he has supported me, even when he has not known me and hasn't met me, and not even in my party. I said this to say something. There are just some of us that it's not about political party for us. It's about your lives. It's about our lives. It's about the dignity of the Nigerian population. It's not about the party. People talk about covenants and all that. Nobody should have a blood or whatever covenant with any party. But covenants of your state, that you are here to be a blessing to your generation. In short, for those of us who are Christians, and I know Muslims do, have some whatever, the covenant you should be thinking about is the covenant in the blood of Jesus. That's, what separates my friend, my brother and elder statesman, Dr. Bugaji, who was in the same election with me, and we have continued to talk about how we can transform our nation. So it's not just about party, but about the lives of Nigerians and what we want to see in our great nation, Nigeria. Like I earlier said, this warning is not something we should take lightly. Not that United States have a right to come into Nigeria or to talk about Nigeria or to think they have the ability, to come into our space and invade. You know why this happens? Because we report ourselves to the United States. We report ourselves to Europe. We report ourselves to international bodies, but but failing to come together just as we are doing right now to sort out, to talk of how can we solve these problems by ourselves. How do we report ourselves? I know so many, I've been in situations where religious leaders in the diaspora and in Nigeria find their way to the United States. At least I served as a former chairman. So I work with the US department and I work with the Nigerian government. So I know what I'm talking about. This is first class information. Come and talk about how Nigeria is this and how Nigeria is that. And some of us in the diaspora also think that the thing that is better for us to do is report ourselves to the State Department, and again, like my brother also shared, this current administration has reported another administration that, there's ill situation in the country. But right now, this very, very administration is being probed for what they talked about. So the only people that can solve their problem is the people of the nation. At times I wonder, because the way people talk about Nigeria, I began to think, is Nigeria a house? Is Nigeria a car? Is Nigeria this set of microphones in front of me? Is Nigeria an inanimate object? No, Nigeria is you and Nigeria is me. If there's no human being, there will not be Nigerians. If you're not present, Nigeria will cease to exist. Remember UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the place that we all go now to spend money. It's a man-made country. It's a manufactured country. It was a sand, but now, because of people who are visionary, UAE now exists. So this is not something that we should take lightly. And this warning from Trump has sparked widespread debate, not just in diplomatic and economic circles, but also in our governance, electoral and reform spaces. Why Trump concerns was framed around the targeting of Christians by extremist groups. It raises deeper questions about the Nigerians' security, architecture, governance, integrity, and international image. At the heart of the matter lies a dual challenge: the erosion and internal security and the loss of external confidence in Nigerian leadership to address it. The implication and the multifaceted situation affecting our diplomacy, our trade, our investments and our electoral credibility. This is not because the United States does not have problem, because right now we are on shutdown. Government is not working. Things, people are being, chased out of work untimely. They have problem, but we have opened that door for them to come in. So the implications I have put together. One, diplomatic and sovereignty implications. The implication is that Trump's public threat of sanction and possible U.S. military intervention challenges Nigerian sovereignty, dignity, and exposes how internal insecurity can invite external interference. It underscores that when a nation fails to protect its citizens, especially from extremist violence, it risks losing moral, political control of its own narrative on the world stage. Like Prince Adebayo also said, yes, we are a sovereign state, we are a sovereign nation. People should celebrate us and respect our sovereign dignity. But the life of the people of Nigeria matter more than just having a sovereignty or being a sovereignty. If we are not able to protect ourselves, people are dying, whether Christians or Muslims. We are all important. Our life matters. The Christian life matters. The Muslim life matters. Growing up in Nigeria, I didn't see things to be this way. But the problem that all of us, not just people in government, every one of us caused. One of the speakers said something, that we want good governance, but we do not want to be good citizens. It goes two ways. We cannot be at the fence. We must agree to make things move forward. Economic and trade consequence. Nigeria is the largest U.S. trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa, with strong ties in oil, gas, and technology. A confrontational stance could strain these relationships. C, the diaspora and image impacts. The Nigerian diaspora, one of the most educated and economically successful immigrant groups in the United States. The diaspora play a major role in sustaining bilateral goodwill and damaging the reputation of a people known globally for excellence and enterprise won't be a win-win situation for the country. It also highlights the responsibility of the Nigerian government to strengthen governance at home, so Nigerians abroad are not defined by their country's narrative, crisis and narrative. Electoral governance and national stability. Insecurity directly undermines electoral credibility and participation with armed violence, banditry, and insurgency spreading across regions. Elections become harder to secure, and citizens lose faith in democracy. Trump's warning, therefore, indirectly reminds Nigerian leaders that security reform and electoral reform are interlinked. A nation in chaos cannot have or hold a credible election. What are the solutions? What will be the remedy, the panacea to this problem we're talking about today? One, strengthening leadership and institutional accountability. The core of Nigeria's insecurity is weak governance and poor accountability. We have a weak government, both in the federal and the states, and we all know it. And some of us support it. We support it. How do we support it? We support it by waiting every 4 years to get 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira, 20,000 naira. I'm sure they are giving according to how they rank in that community. That is how we support insecurity and poor election in our country. So for the most part, the fault is that of the citizens. We have to rise up as a people. We have to begin to believe in ourselves. We have to tighten our belts and know that for Nigeria to move forward, we have to move forward because we are Nigerians. This is an individual plea. This is an individual plea. This is not about your state government. This is not about your tribe. This is not about your religion. This is not about your political party. It's about your future. It's about your life. It's about your children. It's about our women and about our youth. So these are the kind of things we do by waiting every 4 years to collect money, to say, oh, this is my turn to get 5,000 naira and suffer for the next 4 years. Rather, the hostility both nations and we must pursue mutual, beneficial, and shared respect. The US can support Nigeria through capacity building for law enforcement, intelligence sharing, and infrastructure investments. Another is investing in human security. The remedy to insecurity is not just military strength, but human development. They say a hungry man is an angry man. When the people are hungry, they will be angry. I left Nigeria in 2006. I didn't see people begging in the airports. I didn't see people wallowing all over the place. I didn't see things happening this way. Even when I came to bury my mother in 2011, Nigeria was not like this. So the more we wait and do the wrong things, you know, day by day, year by year, election by election, Nigeria will continue to go down. But for us to rise up, we need to do what we need to do to make sure Nigeria moves forward. Transparent, inclusive, and credible election are the cornerstone of peace. Nigeria must continue to modernize its electoral process. Donald Trump's warning should not be dismissed merely as foreign interference. It should be a wake-up call. Nigerians' internal challenges have reached a point where it attracts global alarm. But the solution is not in confrontation. The solution is not in external intervention. The solution lies in visionary governance. The solution lies in institutional reform. The solution lies in citizen participation, true and genuine participation of the citizens. And the solution also lies in mutual respect in our diplomacy. Nigeria must reaffirm its sovereignty, not by word, but by action, ensuring safety, justice, and opportunity for all. A peaceful, secure, and well-governed Nigeria is not only a blessing to the people, but a stabilizing force for the African and a trusted partner to the world.
Time up.
And before I go, I want to say something. You see how my brother is getting close to me to stop? That's one of the problems we have. You see, people are speaking, everyone are speaking, and he said the same thing, but calm down. Because for him, he felt, oh, they have names. This girl, I don't know her, so let me just rush. So what you do for one, let's do it. I'm not angry with him, but I have to point out the facts. What you do for one, you do for all. If 50% of your population is marginalized, we cannot move forward. It is very, very important for us to know that. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, Patience. We've been patient enough, perhaps, to give you more than what was allotted. That's 5 minutes. I'm sure you must have taken like 15 minutes or so. That is also an extension. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. We are really conscious of the fact that there are also people on the other side of the divide who want to make contributions. Of course, we are here because of them. So it is not just about the high table, the lower table is also important. So at this juncture, I will invite the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council. Since we are talking electoral reforms, we know how central political parties are in Nigeria. Mr. Yusuf Dantele, you have the floor now. So help me in welcoming Mr. Yusuf Dantele, who is the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, with a round of applause.
will acknowledge my leaders here, Your Excellencies, party leaders, my bosses are here. I'm sorry they gave me the microphone. I didn't want to speak before you, so I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I will address this problem or this issue holistically, not just on electoral reform in particular. We have problems in this country, and no politician can fix Nigerian problems unless we choose to fix the problems. We have to look at it from the kind of education that we have today, from primary school, secondary school, and then that education produces some of the people who are leading us who do not even know why they are there. So the people that are voting these people to, you vote people or you support people to get to a public office based on the relationship you share with the persons, not on the basis of the capability of such persons. So we have to look at these things holistically. This same thing you now see that will bring about the quality of laws that you see. If not, how can we have, for instance, INEC conducting elections? For national elections, you have another body called SIEC conducting a local government election. The requisites for the conduct of election, from PVC to voters register to constituency delineation, all belongs to INEC. Even the national elections are conducted at all the levels of this country. But because we have maybe out of or some persons feel we need to be in absolute control of the people, you have established something called SIEC, and what is conducted at the local government level does not mean minimum standard of election. And that is substantially responsible for the rot that we have at the local government. That local government chairmen they are just loyalists of some persons or the governors of the respective states. Insecurity, local government chairmen cannot do anything. In the past, when we were younger, we see local government chairmen constructing feeder roads, building hospitals, schools, market squares. Today, most of the local government chairmen we have, they only follow their governors if the governors are going to commission something. Or they are all in Abuja. We have a situation where the commissioner for health, for instance, cannot attend the hospitals that he is administering. Where the minister of education does not believe in the schools that he is making policies for. So we need to address. But as long as the person in question is your tribesman or is your brother, or you are benefiting from it, whatever he does is good. It is embarrassing that today in Nigeria, one of our greatest achievements is to have a Canadian visa or American visa, that America will stop, will say, okay, this country shouldn't be talking of ejecting immigrants. Whatever you have in America, we have times 10 of it here in Nigeria. But because we are so blessed with people who do not even know anything about leadership, that one person will wake up and sponsor all the maybe House of Reps, or sorry, House of Assemblies, the Senate. One person determines who become a senator in the state, determines who become all the members of the state House of Assembly, who become members of because he's the governor or because he's the political leader, until we are able to change some of these things.
And money plays, and because we have made this thing so money thing, that those we have people who are so capable, who can deliver, but because they do not have money, maybe to vie for this thing, who can't come close to it. Politics today in Nigeria, I'm very sorry to say, it is more of business than administration. Somebody will emerge, House of Assembly or local government, banks will begin to run after him to give him loan that he did not request. When farmers that actually need the loan to produce food that all of us, including such these same persons, feed on. So I think we should begin to look at the lucrativity of public office holding in Nigeria, so that better persons or better managers can come. With due respect to our politicians, but so many things are wrong, but Nigerians can do better by refusing to sell our votes for peanuts. Stand and protect our votes. INEC alone cannot do it. The politician who is benefiting from the porosity of the system will not do it until we choose to do these things. But most importantly, we must look at our educational institutions. As individuals, if the government or some persons in government have failed to address education, we need to begin to go to our schools, the primary schools that we attended that made us, the secondary school that we attended that made us, so we can also once in a while go to teach or change the thinking of the children. Because an average Nigerian youth today, just like Senator Shehu Sani mentioned earlier, do not even, for them, support this person, let him go and make his own and come back. And for that reason, I have to sell it. So it is a very serious problem. And then, yes, electoral reform is needed. Why should one person or a player, for instance, in a football field, be the one to appoint the referee? It is an aberration. IPAC have been advocating, okay, we propose that the powers to appoint INEC chairman and commissioner be taken away from the executive. It is wrong, because the moment you do, no matter how objective, the man at this who is piloting the affairs of the umpire will have some sentiment for the man that brought him. It is a national thing. But Nigerians will have to look at it. We should begin to question, why should a man who just emerged or who is managing public office become a super millionaire overnight? And for this reason, these brave people will choose to die there. So no matter how sweet the rules are, we will try as much as possible to circumvent the rules and get what we want. That now make it a do or die thing, because we feel it's too juicy. We should be able to separate business from politics. And what Donald Trump just said, yes, while I do not subscribe to invasion of this country, it is a wake-up call for our leaders to do what is right. Because there are accusations and counter-accusations about how complicit some political leaders are in this issue of insecurity. It is not only Christians, Muslims are going through. The criminals who are doing this thing have no religion. They don't know who is a Muslim, they don't know who is a Christian. All they want is to see to get what they want. And even the international community is complicit. Go to Maiduguri airport today, you see foreign aircrafts, you don't know what they are doing, and the more, for all they have been doing, the problems are getting complex. I have witnessed situations where you see foreigners driving into Boko Haram enclave, even in the night, where our own security personnel cannot go. So what is the secret? Who is responsible for the arms? Nigerian government should wake up and do the needful. If we really want to do this thing, we can. The arms and ammunition that are coming, they have source, they have origin. Somebody went to buy from there. You can trace the person who bought the particular gun, who bought the arm, the ammunition. You can trace those who purchase it. So if you can, why you find it difficult to bring the people to reprimand them? So I thank the organizers of this program. You have done very well. We will continue to do what we can to support you all the time. And I thank my leaders for giving me the opportunity to speak before them. Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we will do what we can to ensure. There's no country in Africa that can accommodate refugee problem for Nigeria if we allow this country to break. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, IPAC Chairman.
Thank you very much, IPAC Chairman Yusuf Dentele, for somewhat keeping to time, even though he also overshoot, but not like the others anyway. Thank you very much. Another round of applause for the IPAC Chairman. Yeah, so as you can see, we're gradually rounding up. We have three more speakers. Now we're going to invite one of
5 minutes each.
5 minutes, please. So let's keep to that. We need to engage some of the critical actors, and at this juncture, I would like to invite Mr. Peter Obi, that is the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, ably represented here by Dr. Yunus Atanko, the national coordinator of the Obedience Movement. A round of applause for him.
Mr. Peter Obi is represented by
yes, so
Yunus Atanko.
I hope to stick to time, please.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, typical of Mr. Peter Obi's humbleness, keeping to time, trying to make sure that he's in everywhere that is most important. He sends his warmest greetings to this particular very august occasion and apologize for his inability to be with you. But be rest assured that he supports this particular program wholeheartedly, because his beliefs is that when we correct our electoral system, Nigeria will be better for it. So, and he thanks the organizers for giving him this opportunity to, being invited. I will speak now as the coordinator of the Obedient Movement. Number one, I would like to pay tribute to Mr. Ariyo Atoyin. Mr. Ariyo was one of the foremost Nigerian civil society personnel that has been championing the cause for electoral reform. Mr. Ariyo died some couple of years ago and left his children. But constantly, Mr. Ariyo has been on the forefront for the cause of electoral reform. Please, a round of applause for his family as we represent. Thank you very much. Then I recognize also Mr. Pastor Oaks. Mr. Pastor Oaks has invited myself and Mr. Femi Falana and Peter Aka Randy. For those of us who have been watching social media, you will know that Mr. Peter Aka Randy has been on the forefront of the call for electoral reform. Ladies and gentlemen, the electoral reform is key for our development. One, we need to find out how do we even elect or put in place the INEC chairman, which is number one. If we feel that the INEC chairman position has been rightly put in place, please say aye. Okay, definitely it is a nay, because the process of getting the INEC chairman has been a faulty one right from the beginning. And once you miss that particular process, you are going to get a lot of things wrong. Have an independent electoral commission. We also suggest strongly that the electoral commission must be unbundled, because there's too much work for the electoral commission. And how do we unbundle it? It must be unbundled into three places. One, the electoral commission, which is responsible for the election. Two, we have the enforcement commission. Then thirdly, we have the delineation commission. That way, the work of INEC will completely reduce, and we'll be able to hold INEC responsible for electoral malfeasance, as the case may be. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we have submitted a 10-page recommendation to the organizers. The 10-page submission was done by the Directorate of the Obedient Movement. You could find a lot of work in it so that it can be useful for the presentation at the National Assembly. We want this particular gathering to consider strongly that it's not only meeting in this particular environment that will push in that particular electoral reform. We must march to the National Assembly on an agreed date. Leaders of this group must march to the National Assembly to submit this document and enforce it through the National Assembly, because the only language that they understand is seeing people on ground. If you keep quiet, they will not do it. Finally, talking on the issue of Mr. Donald Trump, yes, it's a wake-up call, but the question is that, I remember I watched a video. The Fulani bandits said one thing. They said their cows do not produce AK-47. Their cows does not produce ammunition. Their cows only produce calves. Those ammunition that you are seeing moving around from north, west, everywhere were being produced by somebody. So if the United States of America really want to help Nigeria, they should cut the arms supply. Cut the arms supply from every facet. Nigeria is covered by Francophone country. All French countries cover Nigeria around it. So if they really want to help us, they don't even need to talk about coming to Nigeria. Just cut the supply and the banditry will stop. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yunus Tanko, the National Coordinator of the Obedience Movement, for keeping to time. You've really shown that there is a possibility of my name is trying to push. Okay, thank you very much for your patience, the audience too. You've done much by listening to virtually all the presentations here. We are just having 2 more to round up. We'll come back to you for your also inputs, because by way of either comments or by way of questions, we'll take at least 3 or 5, if possible, from the audience. So next is Dr. Peter, hi Chief Peter Ame. I'm sure you will also keep to time. Hi Chief Peter Ame. Okay, you want him to summarize, but I wanted to start the protest. Okay, he's about to protest anyway. So let's have him. I hope he will also keep to time. Perhaps maybe spend just 3 minutes.
I grew up in a military environment where people talk in an infantry tone. For me, most of the issues we've discussed have been talked about, and but what I wanted to do was to just talk to our people and then start the protest that Tanko represented on behalf of Oga. But clearly, over the last 20 years, we've been very, may I stand on already established protocol, Mr. President? So, the representative of Peter Obi, let me tell you something. In the last 20 years, we have written more on electoral reform, and those documents are available. We've talked about it on a daily basis. We worked with our colleagues from Comrade Mark Adebayo to Dr. Yusuf Sanko. We traveled. Even when the card reader came out, we were the first people that did protest, how they call it, organized advocacy on no card reader, no what, Dr. Tanko? No card reader, no election. Well, so we've been doing that for more than 20 years. And we've been speaking on television, on radio station, in trying to make sure that our people understand the consequences of disengaging from the electoral process and the governance process. Because one of the challenges that Nigeria face is not the fact that you go to vote on election day. It's the fact that you disengage from the process that leads to the election and the process after the election. Because election actually is a pre, during, and post effect. Because you have to participate in the laws that govern election. You have to go out and vote and make sure your vote counts. And you have to also participate in anybody that had been announced as the elected person to make sure you put them on their toes to do what is right. If we disengage, if we have a citizen system that all you do is to complain, all you do is to wait for election day and a very few people go to cast their vote. You can't talk about today political party, which is the area that we have invested our life in. You talk about where multi-party democracy has been killed by Section 225A, where the restriction of political party has become something that is acting against the collective interests of survivors of political parties, where political party leaders can no longer speak to government, neither they can even question INEC for the inefficiencies and the shortcomings of the commission. Because why? Anytime they do so, the cutlass is hanging on their neck because they will be deregistered, because you can't question the commission. The commission will come at you with Section 225A. Political party must progress. If political party don't progress, you can never have an electoral system that will be independent. For you as citizens, if you want a system that is truly representative, you must go into a political party and populate it and take your position as delegate. A delegate that will not set their delegate right on the day of primaries. And it's critical that you must know that today we have 19 registered political parties. If election comes in 2027 and these 19 political parties, their primaries is crooked, criminally induced, financially induced, and how they call it, whatever vices that has to do with electoral malpractice, come under their control, and they present 19 thieves for you on election day. Your voting on election day is useless. You'll be electing one of the thieves. So it's critical that you go to a political party, participate in the primaries, and select candidates that will truly represent your right and interest. Today we have people in power who are not representative of our people. Why? Because they have deliberately impoverished the people. We have about 139 million Nigerians living in abject poverty. How do you think such people can take independent decision on your behalf and vote for a candidate that will be truly a candidate that have capacity, that have competence, that have character? How do you think those people can be able to do it? I participated in election in 2027 outside party politics. In party politics, we're veterans. Every IPAC election we win. We even help people to win. But when I went to 2023 to participate in election, I won, but where is the result? I saw things that I've never seen in my life. In fact, I came out with clinical depression. I said my friends like this, and my other brother, Prince Adewola, helped me out of the stress at the time. It was clinical depression, because you will see your friends, your people will love you, but you will not get the result from the ballot. So we must have people who are interested in making sure that credible leaders who believe in the unity and prosperity of this country work and get elected and get to represent them. You have National Assembly today. Our friends there, and when I talk to them about issues they were agitating before they got elected, what they will tell you is that this place, na court, to anything you do, they can remove you. So you have a challenge. Citizens must participate. Citizens must protest. Governance is not about voting on election day. It's about actively holding government accountable. Without that, no government can deliver for the people. You want multi-party democracy to flourish. When you have a political, an election process that is driven by all forms of all the bad things you know of. How will multi-party democracy flourish? You have local government system today. It's the greatest electoral fraud fostered on the Nigerian electoral system. The greatest electoral fraud. But that's what local government elections are. You can never get victory. Governors come here today. People who have been in governors who manipulate our electoral system at the local level. They come here today to tell you about how transparent elections should be. No, the only way you can make elections transparent is for you to stand up for yourself. Nobody who have enjoyed power to a greater extent and been in power since 1999 wants the good for yourself. Not for you. All they want is to get back to power, because that resources that sustain them has been cut off. It is you that will determine who you send. It is you who will determine who should go there. About 8,000 wards across Nigeria. Imagine we have free local government election. You have young people who will be councillors who will be local government chairman at the 774 local government. The state governors are still manipulating that process. Even Tinubu will not want to solve them, because even after the Supreme Court judgment, he has to now have an agreement with governors in order not to implement the Supreme Court judgment. What kind of country are we living in? We want a better country, and yet we see so docile. We're expecting God to come and save us. Make I tell you something, nobody's coming to save you. We must save ourselves by actively participating in the process and determine a future that we want and work for the better of this country, because this is a country. My last statement on this is a country where you used to go to school, public school. You will sit down with children of commissioners, children of ministers, children of governors, former governors and governors. You know what that does to you? It's a network building process. School is not supposed to just go and learn. You build network. Today there's a segregation happening in this country. Poor people go to poor schools, rich people go to very rich schools. So you can't even mix. Your child can't even have the opportunity to communicate with them. So that your child has to fight in an unjust society, with a just electoral system, with an unjust electoral system, unjust governance process, and also a system of school that exclude the very poor from a process of engaging with other members of the public. So it is critical clear that we have a challenge in this country, and the only thing that can solve it is citizens' participation in both governance and in assuring that both religious process is divided and taken away from our electoral process. We have a challenge, and that challenge can only be solved by us. Please, let's solve it ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Peter Ame. He will agree with me that if we give him an additional 1 hour, he will exhaust it. And of course, you also agree with the fact that he is an authority when it comes to electoral reforms and of course electoral processes in Nigeria. Thank you very much once again, Chief Peter Ame, for your intervention. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, MC. Now we have to. Yes, we know. We want our participants to note that we are going immediately into the strategy session. Question, answer, proposals shall be taken. But then we still have one speaker, but we will call on the lead speaker, Prince Adewale Adebayo, to join us here in taking those proposals and the intervention and questions. Please, a round of applause for him. He will have to join us. Again, I hope the rapporteurs are working. The rapporteurs, please continue to take note of decisions and resolution of this very historical national summit. It's very important that we put that out to government and the public. Welcome. Yes. Prince Adewale Adebayo has joined us. We have tea, we have coffee, we have water, we have snacks, all outside. We are not going to break this proceeding because of that. You can kindly walk out, pick your tea, your snacks, come back to your table. We are not going to break. So we have all of that served at the corner outside. So if you are thirsty, you need water, you need coffee, you can kindly help yourself and come back quietly to the hall. So so that we don't break transmission, because we are on live television and it costs us so much to be on live television at this point. It's huge resources. The entire world is watching us, and we are also on Zoom and YouTube. Thank you very, very much. So I'd like to quickly bring here to the microphone our own Dr. Bilikisu Magoro to intervene on the two topics before us. Bilikisu Magoro, please. Thank you.
I beg to stand on existing protocol. Good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, I can see the hall is empty, practically running empty with everybody, but there was a quick survey I wanted to do. I didn't want to give a long lecture on anything saying this or that. You've heard it all. We know what the problems are, we know we've all discussed it among ourselves, and today has been very educating. We've listened, we've learned new ways and means that we should do it. One of the things I wanted to do was do a quick exercise where if we can all stand up, because all of us have been sitting for a while. Can you please stand up? Can we please, even those on the panel, please stand. Please stand up. I know you're eating. Can we stretch? Stretch ourselves. Too much, we've been taking a lot into our head today. We need to stretch and do everything. Please sit down. It's been a wonderful, summit.
One house, please. One house.
Has been
house.
Here. I wanted to run a quick survey. How many of us here are less than the age of 35? If you are less than 35, please stand up, please. Less than 35. I can only see 1, 2. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. We have 5, 6 in here. Less than 40. 40. Less than, you keep standing. Please stand with the others. So you see, from what we can see here, we have a problem. The problem is that we don't have the younger generation queuing into what is going on now, or if you call them the youth here, we don't have that representation. So how do we engage them? They have to be part of all the summits that we have for them to pass the word. They are the largest population of voters. They carry the votes in them, but we don't have a representation of them in here. We just have about 7 or 8. Maybe let's assume 10 outside, but then that's very poor. We have the cameras, we have the newspapers, but we must admit among ourselves that the best way, the fastest way of news now is through social media. And they are the ones that carry the social media. So if we don't have them, how do we spread the words? How do this younger generation key into what we're doing? And that's why my dear Chi and Shehu Sani and everybody else have been doing this for almost 40 years and they're still doing it. We don't have the younger generation are part of it. There's no succession to what we're all doing. So we need, for the next time, we must get these younger ones, we must engage them, and they must be a part of it. We had some here in front. I was going to call one of them to come in and say something, but I don't know among the youth, if you have something to say, I can give you my time. Is there anybody that has something to say, will represent the youth you have? Please come up. I'll give you my time. I'll give you 5 minutes, take my time.
We are going to take them at that.
No, I want him, let the youth say something. They must be engaged and they must be part of what we're doing. Thank you very much. Sorry, my Chi. Let him do it. Introduce yourself and represent what you have to do.
They say 2 minutes. Well, most of the people are outside, they are eating, but I know you can hear me. My name is Dr. Barry Avotu Johnson I. I am the Deputy National Youth Leader of Labour Party. And I saw this advert on WhatsApp, and I tallied and I followed, and I confirmed that it was even one of my bosses that was doing the event. I asked him on Friday, why would you be trying to reform electoral issues in Nigeria without involving the youths? No, but I said, oh God, anything you are doing for the sake of the youth, without the youth, whatever you are doing is nonsense. He now said, for that reason, you must come. And come with your youths and come and speak. And that's the reason why I am here. I've been here since 10. And honestly, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to speak and to also crave the indulgence of everyone watching at home to know that Nigeria is of age. And the needful must be done. It is only in Nigeria you get angry when they call people out when they commit crime. Why? Prince Adebayo just told you what is happening in the polity, how monies are stolen, how insurgency is used to loot money from this government. Every one of you will sit down and do nothing. Amechi came and he said, where is Peter Obi? Where is this? Where is that? Where are all the big people on the list? Where's Goodluck Jonathan? And he left. But if you ask me, without fear or favor, a man dies but once. The truth remains that those who destroyed Nigeria should be called to answer. Because the fact remains that if we need to reform anything in our electoral laws, we should look at the issues of removing the president of Nigeria from appointing the INEC chairman. And again, for our families abroad to be able to have access to vote from wherever they are in the world. There's nothing wrong about you living in the United States and you vote without coming home. I think we should move from where we are and enter another point. What is that point? The point of good governance, quality leadership, and the respect for the rule of law. A thief remains a thief. Not because he's your brother. You put him in your business. He will destroy the company for you. So we that are Nigerians, we know that some people are thieves and we still vote them into power. I'm calling and I'm using this opportunity to call on all Nigerian youths, both home and abroad, to get ready. If they like, let them bring the elections to hold in 2026. We will vote for the right person for the first time in the history of Nigeria, and we'll do it well. Before I leave, I want to say, Ma, thank you for this privilege. The most important thing about me being here is that the youths of Nigeria understand that politics will not be left in the hand of only one man. You can not take power as an individual. You will only take power as a group of people. So therefore, in 2026 or 2027, whichever year they decide to bring the general elections, we are going to mobilize from the north, south, east, and west, and we are going to give Nigeria an individual with at least sense of reasoning. Someone who understands what democracy is all about. Someone who understands that Nigeria has come to stay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we thank him, and I think my time is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much also,
Dr. Biliki Sumagoro, for helping us to bring the youth to join the panel. That is all what you have done, because the youth are here in their hundreds. We have seen them, they have registered, but at least joining the panel is a crucial thing you have helped us to achieve. So I'd like us to give a round of applause to Dr. Magoro for calling our attention to the fact that there was no youth on this panel. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the time is fast spent, but we now have a very critical engagement. That is the strategy session to propose, make proposals, interventions, suggestions, etc., generally. And so, Prince Adebayo is here, who is the lead speaker, to take your questions, to respond, and the panelists are also here to respond to your question. So, we are good to go. As you take your snacks, your tea, your chops, bring them in quietly and sit down and contribute. This is an engagement that is going to move the country forward. So I can see a hand, so you can please come forward so that the MC can, so that we know the numbers of people who may want to intervene at this point. Comrade Mark Adebayo, you don't have anything to say?